Hi, I'm Ariam, and this is my vlog for week 3 of Orilium, which is crazy that it's already week 3. Anyways, if you don't know, Orilium is a readathon, where basically you have characters, well, you're actually supposed to have one. I have 3, let's put that aside. But you have a character who goes to Magical University, and you choose what degree they're working towards, and they have certain classes they have to take for that degree, and the classes are basically the reading prompts. So like I said, I have 3. It is currently April 12th, and so that's a Sunday, it's the first day of the week, and I'm currently reading a book for the lore class, which is the course focus is ancient speculative lore, and the prompt is a dystopia or utopia, and I'm reading this from a character, Radha Rao, who is trying to become a Feywilds cartographer, because she has a whole history that isn't relevant right now, Anyway, so I decided for this one to read The Annual Migration of Clouds by Premi Muhammad because I read The Butcher of the Forest by her and I absolutely loved that book. And listen, I'm really liking The Annual Migration of Clouds as well. I'm 92 pages in, but this is a novella, so that's 58%. So this is about, I'm not loving it as much as The Butcher of the Forest, but I didn't expect to just because The Butcher of the Forest was so good. And also because I did read a collection of short stories by her, which I was honestly disappointed in, but I think that was good because if I had gone into this right after The Butcher of the Forest, even though I know that's a very high ROF to get to, I think I still would have been disappointed, and I'm not. So this is a story that happens in a future world. It's not very clear how we get to this kind of apocalyptic world. It's not exactly apocalyptic. I want to call it a dystopia, but everything said it was a dystopia before I started reading it. Like, Goodreads had it as a dystopia. I think one of the official blurb reviews called it a dystopia, so you know what? We're going with a dystopia. Anyways, so this is about our main character, Reed, who lives in a community that it's just one of the communities they have after this apocalypse happened that led to there being no electricity, and before she was born, there were when she was a very little kid, there were a lot of drastic weather patterns, which really messed things up, obviously. And also, there is a parasitic illness, which kind of takes over people's body. Like, it can stop them from doing stuff if it thinks it's a danger to it. And they say it's semi-sentient, but it's not really clear how sentient it is, and if it gets to your brain or whatever. It does kill people then. It's a long-term illness, but it kills people then. And Reed has it. So our book starts with Reed getting into a university, one of the only universities left. And she is very, very excited about it. But on the other hand, she also is a big part of her community because everyone in this apocalyptic world is a big part of their community, and they have to be. And she is getting also differing messages. Some people are like, great, you should really go for this university thing. And other people are like, no, what do you mean? You're not going to leave. You're an essential part of our community. And so basically so far, the book has just been about her wondering whether to leave or not. And so yeah, there's no plot, but I love it. I love character-driven books. I love character-driven books that have no plot. I will say that it is a bit slow in that I was reading and there were like twice it was like, oh, it's still the same day. And I was like, what do you mean it's still the same day? Like, it feels like more time should have passed. So maybe not a bit slow. Not slow. It isn't slow, but there should have been more time markers is what I'm saying. I feel like the pacing is a bit off. Like, it was a bit... in the beginning, I'm on the second day now, so the first day I was like, how is it still the first day? And on the second day, it feels like, wait, I'm not sure how much time has passed. Are we in the early afternoon? Is it still in the morning? So it does feel like there should be more time markers in the book, but that's my only complaint. I'm enjoying this so much. I find this is more of a philosophical discussion than any sort of plot, but I really like it, and it's probably also the time of my life of when I'm reading it because I feel like it can be a lot. I don't want to talk too much about me in this case, but I feel like it can be definitely relates a lot, even though it's like this apocalyptic story and there's parasites and whatever. It can relate definitely to wanting to go and do something new, and which means leaving a place that you're already established in. And I definitely, there's one specific way in which I relate to read a lot. I'm not going to say which, because I don't want to put that on the internet, but I'll just say it's there. And I feel like that is definitely making me like the story more. And if that wasn't there, I like if it wasn't, I just feel like it's the fact that I'm reading it now is perfect. Hey, it is April 13th, and I finished the annual migration of clouds this morning. It did not get up to the level of the Butcher's Forest, or whatever the book was called. I can never remember. I was surprised I remembered yesterday. But I still really liked it. I do feel like the pacing was off, though. Like, what I was talking to you about, I said, like, I told you why, but then, like, a bunch of things happened, and it was just, like, so much, and it was basically kind of crazy. And and it kind of also changed the book to have more plot, even though it was still the influence of it being on our character. Like, so I don't think this is a perfect book. And I don't even think it was a 5-star book, which is not the same thing. But like, I feel like a 5-star book is like, oh, I really like this book, because I don't think there's really anything like a perfect book, you know. But I'd say it's probably like a 3.75-star book, but one that's very much up my alley. Then I started reading Chilling Effect by Valerie Valdez. This is another sci-fi book, and this one we're following a captain of a trading ship who, her sister is kidnapped by this criminal organization, and she has to do jobs for them in order, her, basically the ransom is she has to do different jobs for them, and they'll like pay her money, and that money will go into ransoming her sister. So this, when I read the summary, it kind of sounded like a different sci-fi series I read, which I really loved, and I cannot remember the title of that series for some reason, which is kind of driving me crazy. And I'm finding that a lot of the ways in which I love that series are the same in here, and that is specifically the alien groups. In both these series, we have different alien groups, most of whom are not humanoid. That one did have way more humanoid groups, but that one, went very much into the cultures. So far, this one, I'm at page 70, but it's a very long book. It's 420 pages. So we haven't really gone much into the alien cultures, but we have gone into the fact that most of them are not humanoid, and we've really seen, like, how they can affect stuff, especially communication of one specific alien. And also, we get to see, like, all these cool gadgets. I'm personally not such a hard sci-fi fan. I just really like seeing the cool gadgets and being like, yay, cool gadgets. And less like there have been hard sci-fi stories that I've liked, especially older ones. But overall, I just want to be like, yay, cool gadgets. And that is definitely what we're seeing here, and we're seeing them being used in very cool ways. And overall, it's been a very fun book. There is one thing I don't like, and one thing I'm still not sure about. But basically, the main thing that I don't like is that there's obviously a romance. We see it from like almost the first page. We get hints of it, that there's going to be a romance between our main character, Eva, and another character, another employee of hers. And I'm not a romance fan, and I'm definitely not liking the way this romance is being set up, because when I am a romance fan, I'm an enemies to lovers fan, and not a friends to lovers fan, and this is friends to lovers. And also, like, it's also kind of frustrating, because, listen, if I was a romance lover, I would be giggling and waving my feet whenever it's like, okay, so this that specifically they also change their smells according to what they feel. Like, I don't think it's on purpose. I think that just happens. I wonder if they can control it. I'm curious about that. Like, we can sometimes kind of control our emotions. Like, we can control our facial expressions, you know? Like, even if I don't like someone, I can control my facial expressions and smile at them, right? So I wonder if they can. Anyways, so she knows a lot of the smells, but there's this one specific smell that sometimes he has when he's talking to her, and it's always at certain scenes, you know? And she doesn't know what it was and what it is, and it's frustrating her. And listen, if I was a romance reader, I'd be kicking my feet giggling at this. But I'm not a romance reader, and it's annoying me because I know what it's meant to do. And look, this is not, and just to point out, this is a thing that I personally dislike, but it's actually well written. Like, you know, like, this is good. This is well written. It's just not, I just don't like romance. The other thing is that there was this incident that I really can't say too much about it because it would spoil stuff, but it did feel very much like, oh, let's just, like, we had, like, a bunch of realistic stuff go wrong, and then it felt like this is, like, first of all, it's just, like, one thing too much to go wrong, you know? Like, we had all these things go wrong, and they were adding another thing, and in general, she just, while things do go wrong, doesn't go wrong this much. Like, this feels like too much extra, and one of the other reasons that it felt like too much extra is that it's just that it was over the top. It felt unrealistic for it even to happen. So happening on top of all those other things, I've just decided to ignore it for now, and we'll see where that part goes. From how it's set up, I have the feeling that it's going to come back to bite them at the ass at, like, the end of the book. Like, they'll have totally forgotten about it, and then it will come back to bite them at the end of the book. But just, even though I was really enjoying all the cool gadgets uses during it, I felt like I had to kind of, like, be like, ignore the part of it that felt so unrealistic. Okay, so it is April 14th, and it is late, and I'm 196 pages through this book, but because it's late, let's try to get through this update quickly. Like, I still want to update, but I also want to get through it quickly, which this is not, explaining that is not making it quicker. Anyways, basically, the main thing I wanted to say is that it reminds me of another book that I really love. Like, this book is reminding me of books that I really love. It's still reminding me of that series that I can't remember the name of, but it's also reminding me of another series that I read last year that I loved, and the first one, it's the Constance Verity series, and the first one, which was my absolute favorite, was The Last Adventure of Constance Verity, and the reason it's reminding me of it is that it's very good at balancing, this is a funny book, this is humor, but there are bad things happening, and also these characters have pretty dark pasts, and we're gonna focus on that too. Also, I think it's also doing a really, really good job in that every time the author says something that I don't quite understand, I trust that I'll figure it out. I'll trust that I'll find out what is happening. Now, I still do have the complaint of everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and I think at this point, reading the book, that it's just a problem of I don't like everything that can go wrong will go wrong. The everything that can go wrong will go wrong trope, but it's not done badly. It's actually done very well. So while I don't like it, and I'm kind of rolling my eyes sometimes, don't get me wrong, I still really like this book. Hey, good morning. It is the morning of April 16th, so we're just over halfway through the month, and I am 321 pages into Chilling Effects, which, by the way, I forgot to tell you exactly what class it's for and what the prompt is and everything and which character it's even for. So let me look that up. But as I'm looking that up, I'm going to tell you that I am still really, really liking it. Oh my god, I had more things to tell you, but they've all just blown out of my head in a way. Oh, I now remember. I was wondering what was going to, like, at some point, like, at some point, like, stuff happened and it was like, it didn't make sense that this is where we are in the book, because there's still like, there was still a lot of book left, like around half the book left. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. So I was really wondering what's going to happen. And then two things happened in quick succession, but it made sense that they were in quick succession. And it really changed. It didn't change where the book is going, but it made sense why that would happen. I just think this author is awfully intelligent, far more intelligent than I am, actually, honestly. And she's got the plot planned out. She has everything planned out. And I'm just like, and like the emotional arcs and everything. Though I do think the emotional arcs are weaker than the plot, but I'm just excited to see where it goes. And now I'll tell you what it is. So the class was elemental studies. The course focus was temperature controls, and the reading prompt was temperature word in the title. Now I have to remind myself which character I even am reading this for. Which of my characters has elemental studies? So, of course, it is Radha who has elemental studies, because she has the most classes, so of course it's going to be her who, it's the most chance of her who has a class. But I just realized, looking back, I still have not entered the annual migration of clouds and finished, because I've been really, really busy, into, like, the form that you do so. But I just realized, I finished all of Miriam's books. I started, not this week, at the beginning of the readathon, I started with Batman number 49 for Conjuration. Then I read Beach Read by Emily Henry for Restoration. Batman number 49 is written by Doug Moen. I don't remember who the illustrators and the colorist is Adrienne Roy, I'm pretty sure. But the illustrators, I don't remember who. Anyways, then I read The Annual Migration of Clouds by Premi Muhammad for lore. Then I read Julie of the Wolves by Jean Craighead George for animal studies. And that is all that needed to be read. She only had 4 books. It's crazy. Hey, it is April 18th, and I was just going to edit the video for Orilium Week 3, which is this video, and I realized I never summed it up. So, I only read 2 books this week. I read The Annual Migration of Clouds, and, I'm not sure if I'm continuing the series. I'm not planning for at least this month to continue the series. I don't really have strong plans to continue the series. I'm not really that interested to see where the character goes. I felt like the ending had some things that let me down. Like, there's one particular thing that I was like, has made me not want to continue the series. Like, just because they're short books, and like, if this is going to be some things that the plot hinges on, I don't want to continue with that. But then I finished on Friday, which was yesterday, Chilling Effect by Valerie Valdez. And listen, I was absolutely exhausted this week. I get like 5 to 5.5 hours of sleep each night, which I know for some people that's normal. For me, that's not. So I don't know if the fact that I didn't understand everything that was going on in this book was I was too tired, I'm not smart enough, or that it was not written well, because like there were like things that were like going on, and then I would be like, wait, what? And then I would go back and be like, oh, okay. And that happened multiple times. And listen, I don't know if it was because I was super tired or not. And then there were definitely some things at the end that I feel like even if I weren't tired, I wouldn't have understood them. And I just like, again, the ending felt too quick. The ending, this one definitely felt too quick. Despite the fact that it's a very long book, it felt way too quick. It felt like it should have been stretched out a little. This should have been 460 pages, not 420. But listen, I just love. But however, this book is just like the perfect book for me. Listen, if this book were not the perfect book for me, I don't know if I would continue the series. But this book is just such the perfect type of book for me, the type of book that I loved. I've mentioned already all the reasons why I love this kind of book, so I really want to continue with the next series, with the next book in the series.